The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. Take a moment and let that sink in. Communication isn't just about the words we speak. It's about the energy we convey, the attention we give, and the understanding we seek. Every day, we engage in countless interactions, at work, at home, in social gatherings. But how many of these truly build bridges, inspire trust, or foster deeper connections? Today, we dive into the art of effective communication, the kind that transforms relationships, accelerates success, and elevates the human spirit. Effective communication begins with clarity. Not just clarity of words, but clarity of intent. Imagine sending a message to a friend or a colleague. If your purpose isn't clear, your message may be misunderstood, ignored, or even cause unintended friction. True communicators pause, reflect, and ask themselves, what is it I truly want to express? What do I hope the other person feels, understands, or acts upon? When you master this, your words gain precision, and your conversations become purposeful. But communication isn't a one-way street. The greatest leaders, mentors, and influencers in history were not only eloquent speakers, but also exceptional listeners. Listening is the secret ingredient of effective communication, and I don't mean just hearing words. I mean fully absorbing the meaning behind them, the emotions, the fears, the hopes. Listening with empathy requires us to silence our inner monologue, to resist the urge to respond immediately, and to truly meet the other person in their reality. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you. Not just nodded politely, but really heard your heart. How did it make you feel? That's the power of deep listening. It builds trust, invites honesty, and opens doors that words alone cannot. Effective communication also thrives on authenticity. People are intuitive. They sense insincerity immediately. Whether it's a simple conversation with a friend or a high-stakes business negotiation, authenticity breeds connection. Be honest in your words, consistent in your actions, and vulnerable when it matters. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the bridge that allows people to see the real you and feel safe to share themselves in return. When you communicate authentically, you invite collaboration, respect, and loyalty. Now, let's talk about the unspoken elements of communication. The tone, the pace, the body language. Research shows that over 70% of communication is nonverbal. Your gestures, your facial expressions, your posture, they all speak volumes. A calm tone can diffuse tension, a smile can warm a room, a steady gaze can convey confidence and sincerity. Learning to align your verbal and nonverbal signals is a skill that takes conscious effort, but pays profound dividends. When your body language echoes your words, your message becomes unstoppable. Stories have always been at the heart of human connection. From ancient fireside tales to today's TED Talks, storytelling is a tool that transcends culture, language, and time. The human brain is wired to respond to stories. They evoke emotions, create empathy, and make ideas memorable. When you share a personal story, a lesson learned, or an experience that touched you deeply, you invite others to step into your world. And when you listen to their stories, you expand your understanding and deepen your relationships. Master communicators harness the power of stories to inspire, teach, and motivate. But let's be honest, effective communication is not without its challenges. Misunderstandings occur, emotions flare, opinions clash. The key is not to avoid conflict, but to navigate it with grace. Conflict, when handled correctly, can strengthen relationships and uncover hidden truths. It requires patience, self-awareness, and the courage to express yourself without diminishing the other person. It means choosing words that uplift rather than wound, asking questions instead of assuming, and seeking solutions instead of assigning blame. Every conflict becomes an opportunity to practice the art of dialogue, to grow in empathy, and to reinforce trust. Another cornerstone of effective communication is adaptability. Every person you meet has a unique perspective, a unique emotional landscape. Some respond to logic, some to emotion, some need time to process, others require immediate clarity. By observing carefully and adjusting your approach, you communicate not only with words, but with understanding. Adaptability demonstrates respect. It shows that you value the other person enough to meet them where they are, instead of demanding they meet you where you are. Now, let's bring this closer to home. How does effective communication impact our personal lives? Imagine your relationships with family, friends, or partners. How often do misunderstandings create tension? How often do unspoken expectations lead to disappointment? By consciously practicing clarity, empathy, authenticity, and active listening, you transform ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. You cultivate relationships where trust flourishes, emotions are honored, and mutual growth becomes possible. The ripple effect of effective communication in your personal life is profound. It not only enriches your bonds, but also teaches those around you to communicate with integrity and heart. In professional life, the stakes are equally high. Leaders are measured by their ability to convey vision and inspire action. Teams succeed when members communicate openly, share ideas fearlessly, and provide feedback constructively. Entrepreneurs thrive when they pitch their ideas persuasively, negotiate effectively, and build networks of genuine support. Every success story you admire is underpinned by the invisible thread of communication. Those who master it wield influence, inspire loyalty, and turn possibilities into reality. So, how do we cultivate this art daily? Start small. Observe your conversations. Notice your words, your tone, and your reactions. Listen more than you speak. Ask thoughtful questions. Seek to understand before being understood. Practice empathy in every interaction. Reflect on your communication style. Celebrate what works, and adjust what doesn't. Surround yourself with people who challenge and uplift you, and learn from those who communicate with excellence. Remember, mastery is a journey, not a destination. Every conversation is a chance to practice, refine, and elevate your skills. And here's a powerful truth: effective communication is not just about achieving external success. It is a path to inner growth. When you listen deeply, you learn patience. When you speak authentically, you build self-confidence. When you navigate conflict with grace, you cultivate resilience. Communication becomes more than a tool. It becomes a mirror reflecting who you are, who you aspire to be, and the impact you wish to leave on the world. As we near the end of today's message, I want you to imagine the life you desire. A life rich in meaningful relationships, profound connections, and abundant opportunities. Imagine being able to express yourself clearly, listen with empathy, and influence with integrity. Imagine the doors that will open when people feel understood, valued, and inspired by your words. This is the power of effective communication. It transforms lives, strengthens bonds, and propels you toward the success and fulfillment you seek. So, as you step forward into your day, remember these words: communication is not merely about talking, it is about connecting. Not merely about exchanging words, it is about touching hearts. Not merely about being heard, it is about creating understanding, trust, and inspiration. Practice it, refine it, honor it, and watch as your relationships, your career, and your life transform in ways you never imagined. Clarity is more than just choosing the right words. It is the foundation upon which meaningful communication is built. Every interaction we have carries potential. The potential to inspire, to influence, and to transform. Yet, too often, our messages are clouded by assumptions, distractions, or unclear intentions. When we speak without clarity, our ideas lose their impact. Our relationships encounter friction, and opportunities slip through our fingers. Imagine walking into a room full of people and trying to convey a vision, an idea, or a heartfelt message, but your words scatter like leaves in the wind. Without focus, even the most brilliant ideas can be overlooked, misunderstood, or dismissed. Clarity cuts through that noise. It allows your message to land with precision, and it ensures that what you intend to communicate is exactly what is received. Clarity begins with intention. Before you say a single word, pause and ask yourself, why am I speaking? What outcome am I hoping for? What does the other person need to hear in order to truly understand me? This simple reflection transforms ordinary conversation into deliberate communication. When you speak with intention, your words become tools rather than echoes, shaping reality instead of merely filling silence. The difference is subtle but profound. One message can motivate a team, resolve a conflict, or change the course of a relationship. Another, without clarity, can leave confusion and frustration in its wake. The power of clarity is also evident in the way we structure our thoughts. Organized communication allows others to follow your ideas effortlessly. A clear sequence, a carefully chosen example, or a well-framed question draws listeners in, guiding them from point to point without hesitation or distraction. When you arrange your message with thoughtfulness, people not only understand you, they remember you. They feel your confidence because the precision of your words reflects the precision of your mind. Equally important is the clarity of emotion. Effective communication is not merely intellectual, it carries emotional resonance. If your tone wavers, if your words are ambiguous, or if your energy contradicts your message, even the most articulate sentences lose power. Clarity demands that your inner intent and outer expression align. When your thoughts, feelings, and words are synchronized, your communication becomes magnetic. People listen not just because of what you say, but because they sense the unwavering certainty and authenticity behind it. Finally, clarity fosters trust. In both personal and professional relationships, people gravitate toward those who communicate with transparency and precision. Ambiguity breeds doubt. Hesitation invites skepticism. When your message is clear, it signals that you are confident, prepared, and respectful of the listener's time and attention. In this way, clarity is not just a tool for being understood. It is a signal of competence, respect, and credibility. In every conversation, every presentation, and every connection, clarity is the silent force that separates ordinary communication from extraordinary influence. It ensures that your voice does not merely reach others, but resonates, inspires, and leaves a lasting impression. Listening is one of the most underestimated skills in communication, yet it holds the key to unlocking connection, influence, and understanding. Most of us enter conversations with a hidden agenda to reply, to defend, or to prove a point. We hear words, but we fail to hear meaning. We respond, but we rarely connect. True listening, the kind that transforms relationships and inspires trust, requires more than simply being quiet while someone speaks. It demands presence, attention, and an intentional effort to step into another person's world. When you listen with the purpose of understanding, every interaction changes from a routine exchange into a profound opportunity to bridge hearts and minds. To listen deeply, we must first silence the internal chatter that competes with the speaker's words. Our minds are quick to judge, anticipate, or prepare rebuttals, often before a thought is fully expressed. But when we slow down and focus entirely on the person in front of us, we begin to notice subtle cues. The tone of their voice, the rhythm of their speech, the emotions hidden behind their words. These details reveal more than language ever could. They reveal intent, vulnerability, and unspoken truths. People can sense when they are genuinely heard, and that awareness instantly fosters connection and trust. Empathy is the cornerstone of effective listening. It is not enough to grasp the literal meaning of words. You must also feel the emotional context behind them. Consider a friend sharing a personal struggle. If you listen only to respond, you may offer solutions too quickly or interrupt with your own experiences. But when you listen to understand, you validate their feelings, honor their experience, and create a safe space for authentic expression. In that moment, you are not just hearing words. You are witnessing another human being, acknowledging their reality, and giving them the gift of presence. Listening to understand also sharpens our own awareness and decision-making. When we take the time to fully comprehend someone else's perspective, we gain insights that would otherwise remain hidden. Misunderstandings, conflicts, and mistakes often arise not from ill intent, but from assumptions and incomplete information. By practicing active listening, we gather the clarity needed to respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. This shift from reaction to response is what separates effective communicators from the rest. Moreover, deep listening cultivates influence and leadership. People naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel heard and understood. When you demonstrate genuine interest in their words and emotions, you earn not only attention but also respect. Colleagues, friends, and family are more likely to trust your guidance, follow your lead, and open their hearts to collaboration. Listening becomes a force multiplier, allowing your influence to grow without ever raising your voice. Every conversation carries potential. The potential to heal, to inspire, and to transform. When you commit to listening, not to reply, but to understand, you unlock the full power of communication. You begin to see people as they truly are, connect on a deeper level, and create relationships built on empathy, respect, and trust. Authenticity in communication is a rare and powerful quality. In a world saturated with noise, pretense, and surface-level interactions, people are instinctively drawn to those who speak with honesty, courage, and heart. Authenticity is not about being flawless or saying everything that comes to mind. It is about aligning your words with your values, your intentions, and your genuine emotions. When you communicate authentically, your presence carries weight, your words carry meaning, and your relationships gain depth. It is one of the most effective tools for influence, connection, and trust, yet it requires conscious effort, vulnerability, and self-awareness to practice consistently. Every conversation begins with a choice: to communicate from the mind or from the heart. Speaking from the mind may be calculated, strategic, or focused on outcomes, but it often lacks resonance. People may hear your words, but they do not feel them. Speaking from the heart, on the other hand, infuses your words with life. It conveys sincerity, invites connection, and signals that what you are sharing comes from a place of truth. Listeners respond not just to the content of your message, but to the energy behind it. There is a subtle but undeniable power in the voice of someone who is real, present, and committed to expressing what matters most. Authenticity demands courage because it requires vulnerability. To be authentic, you must be willing to show your true self, even when it feels uncomfortable. This does not mean over-sharing or exposing every weakness indiscriminately. It means acknowledging your feelings, admitting what you do not know, and communicating with transparency when it matters. Vulnerability is magnetic. It invites trust, inspires empathy, and creates spaces where others feel safe to be genuine themselves. Consider the difference between a leader who hides behind a polished image and one who openly admits challenges while sharing a vision. The latter is far more likely to inspire loyalty, respect, and followership. Authentic communication has the capacity to turn ordinary conversations into transformational exchanges. The language you choose also plays a critical role in authenticity. Words carry meaning not only through their literal definition, but through the intention, tone, and resonance behind them. Avoid phrases that feel hollow or overly rehearsed. Speak in a manner that reflects your natural rhythm and thought process. Use examples and stories drawn from your own experiences, rather than relying solely on abstract principles. When you communicate in a way that is consistent with who you are, people perceive not just what you are saying, but who you truly are. This alignment between words and identity is the foundation of credibility and influence. Listening and authenticity are intertwined. When you speak authentically, you create a feedback loop. You listen, you observe, you adjust, and you respond truthfully. You do not manipulate or conform to expectations. You engage with integrity. This kind of communication cultivates respect, strengthens relationships, and fosters environments where collaboration and innovation thrive. People remember the speakers who speak from the heart because their words leave an imprint on both the mind and the soul. Finally, authenticity requires consistency. It is not a single moment or a convenient choice. It is a continuous commitment. Every interaction, from casual exchanges to critical conversations, is an opportunity to express your genuine self. Each word, each gesture, each pause carries the potential to reinforce or erode your credibility. By consistently practicing authenticity, you build a reputation as someone whose communication is reliable, trustworthy, and meaningful. Over time, this reputation compounds, creating influence that extends far beyond the immediate conversation. Speaking with authenticity transforms communication into an art form. It is a practice of aligning thought, word, and intention, of embracing vulnerability while maintaining integrity, of expressing truth with courage and clarity. It turns ordinary dialogue into moments of connection, empowerment, and inspiration, leaving a lasting impact on everyone you encounter. Communication extends far beyond the words we speak. Every gesture, posture, facial expression, and tone of voice conveys meaning, often louder and more powerfully than language itself. Nonverbal communication is the unspoken language that communicates confidence, empathy, intent, and emotion. It is a silent current running beneath every interaction, shaping how messages are received and how relationships unfold. Mastering this subtle art allows you to convey authority, warmth, and credibility, even before a single word is uttered. Understanding and harnessing nonverbal cues can transform ordinary interactions into compelling and impactful exchanges. Consider the energy you bring into a room. The way you enter, the steadiness of your gaze, the openness of your posture. These signals are interpreted by others in an instant. A slouched posture may convey disinterest or insecurity, while standing tall with a relaxed presence communicates confidence and approachability. The alignment between your body and your words amplifies the clarity and effectiveness of your message. When nonverbal cues support your spoken words, they reinforce trust and authenticity, creating an invisible bridge between speaker and listener. Tone of voice is equally critical. The same sentence can inspire, comfort, or irritate, depending entirely on how it is delivered. A calm and steady tone communicates control and reassurance, while a rushed or uneven cadence can create tension or confusion. Modulating your voice to reflect empathy, enthusiasm, or emphasis allows listeners to feel the emotion behind your words. In every conversation, the subtleties of pitch, pace, and volume are powerful instruments, shaping the emotional landscape and influencing the listener's response. Facial expressions provide a window into your emotions and intentions. A smile conveys openness, trust, and warmth, while a furrowed brow may indicate concern, focus, or disapproval. Maintaining appropriate eye contact demonstrates attentiveness and sincerity, signaling to others that they have your full attention. In professional and personal settings alike, subtle expressions communicate volumes, often more than the words themselves. Being mindful of these expressions ensures that your nonverbal signals align with your verbal message, creating harmony and preventing miscommunication. Gestures and physical movement also carry meaning. Hand movements, nods, and even the space you maintain between yourself and others contribute to the story your body is telling. Gestures can emphasize points, illustrate concepts, and reinforce understanding. When used intentionally, they enhance engagement and help your message resonate. However, excessive or inconsistent gestures can distract or confuse. Awareness and control over these movements enable you to guide the conversation with confidence, ensuring your audience feels both your presence and your purpose. Equally important is the concept of mirroring, a subtle but powerful tool in nonverbal communication. By naturally reflecting the body language, tone, or pace of someone you are engaging with, you create subconscious rapport and trust. It signals empathy and alignment, making the other person feel understood and connected. This is not manipulation. It is the art of meeting people where they are, showing respect for their rhythm and emotional state. Finally, nonverbal communication is a reflection of self-awareness. The most effective communicators are those who understand their own physical presence, emotional tone, and habitual expressions. They practice alignment between thought, feeling, and action, ensuring that their body, voice, and words are coherent and intentional. Mastering this alignment allows you to convey messages that are not only understood but felt, leaving a lasting impression that words alone cannot achieve. Harnessing nonverbal communication transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns routine interactions into moments of connection, influence, and resonance. Every movement, glance, and tone is an opportunity to reinforce your authenticity, strengthen trust, and inspire those around you. By becoming aware of these unspoken signals and using them intentionally, you elevate your communication from mere words to a compelling, multidimensional experience that touches both mind and heart. Conflict is inevitable. It arises in every relationship, every team, and every interaction where differing opinions, values, or priorities exist. Many shy away from conflict, fearing discomfort, tension, or potential fallout. Yet, conflict is not the enemy. It is an opportunity. It is a mirror reflecting gaps in understanding, unspoken needs, and unexamined assumptions. When approached with awareness, patience, and skill, conflict becomes a catalyst for growth, both for relationships and for personal development. The way we navigate it can determine whether tension leads to division or deeper connection. The first step in transforming conflict into growth is shifting perspective. Conflict is not a personal attack, nor a sign of failure. It is a natural part of human interaction, a signal that something important is at stake. Recognizing this allows us to step back from emotional reactivity and approach the situation with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Asking questions, listening attentively, and seeking to understand the other person's perspective reframes conflict as an opportunity to learn and to bridge gaps. This mindset transforms what could be a confrontation into a conversation that builds insight and trust. Listening plays a central role in navigating conflict effectively. Too often, people prepare their responses while the other person is speaking, creating a cycle of miscommunication and frustration. When you listen with the intent to understand, you absorb not just the words, but the emotions and intentions behind them. You discover underlying concerns, unmet needs, or hidden fears that may be fueling the disagreement. This kind of listening is active and intentional. It validates the other person's experience and communicates respect, even in moments of tension. When people feel heard, defensiveness diminishes and the path to resolution becomes clearer. Clarity in communication is equally crucial. During conflict, ambiguity can escalate misunderstandings. Expressing your thoughts and feelings clearly, calmly, and with precision reduces misinterpretation and creates space for constructive dialogue. Avoid blaming language or generalized statements. Instead, speak from your perspective, using I statements that convey how you feel, what you need, and what you hope to achieve. This approach keeps the conversation grounded in reality, encourages collaboration, and prevents escalation. Empathy transforms conflict from a battleground into a classroom. By seeking to understand the emotional landscape of the other person, you create a bridge of connection even in disagreement. Empathy does not require agreement. It requires recognition. Acknowledging the other person's feelings demonstrates respect and paves the way for compromise, innovation, and joint problem solving. It turns friction into insight, frustration into opportunity, and disagreement into dialogue. Resilience is a byproduct of mastering conflict. Every time we navigate a disagreement with patience, clarity, and empathy, we strengthen our emotional intelligence, deepen our relationships, and expand our capacity for leadership. Conflict becomes a mirror reflecting our growth areas, revealing patterns in communication and behavior that, once recognized, can be transformed into strengths. Those who master this skill do not avoid difficult conversations. They engage them thoughtfully, knowing that each challenge carries lessons and opportunities for advancement. Finally, transforming conflict into growth requires intention and practice. It is a skill honed over time through awareness, reflection, and consistent effort. By approaching conflict as an opportunity rather than a threat, listening actively, expressing thoughts clearly, and embracing empathy, you convert tension into understanding, challenge into insight, and disagreement into connection. Every conflict navigated in this way strengthens trust, nurtures respect, and lays the foundation for stronger, more resilient relationships. Adaptability is the cornerstone of exceptional communication. Every individual you encounter brings a unique perspective, a distinct emotional landscape, and a personal way of interpreting the world. What resonates with one person may fall flat with another. The most effective communicators understand this dynamic and adjust their approach with both sensitivity and skill. Adaptability is not about changing who you are or diluting your message. It is about meeting others where they are, understanding their needs, and delivering your words in a manner that can be truly received and appreciated. When practiced consistently, this ability transforms ordinary interactions into moments of connection, influence, and inspiration. The first aspect of adaptability is observation. To communicate effectively, you must first pay close attention, not just to words, but to tone, body language, and emotional cues. Is the person receptive and energetic, or reserved and reflective? Are they driven by logic, emotion, or experience? By noticing these subtleties, you can adjust your pacing, tone, and style in real time. A conversation becomes less about delivering a pre-planned message and more about engaging in a dynamic exchange where understanding and influence flow naturally. Observation allows you to sense when to push forward, when to pause, and when to change direction entirely, ensuring that your message lands as intended. Flexibility in expression is equally important. Some individuals respond best to data, facts, and logical reasoning, while others are inspired by stories, emotions, or personal experiences. By tailoring your communication style to the listener's preferences, you honor their perspective and increase the likelihood of meaningful connection. Adaptability also requires varying your approach in response to feedback. A subtle frown, a hesitant nod, or a question that signals confusion is not a signal to continue blindly. It is a cue to adjust, clarify, or reframe your words. Skilled communicators treat these cues as gifts, opportunities to refine their delivery and enhance understanding. Emotional intelligence is intertwined with adaptability. To adjust effectively, you must recognize both your own emotions and those of others. Awareness of your reactions, impatience, frustration, excitement, allows you to maintain composure and communicate with clarity. Awareness of the listener's emotional state enables you to respond with empathy, reassurance, or encouragement, creating an atmosphere where ideas are shared openly and dialogue is constructive. This sensitivity fosters trust, making others more receptive to your message and more willing to engage in authentic conversation. Adaptability also empowers you to inspire. When you communicate in a way that resonates with others, you spark motivation, creativity, and engagement. People are inspired not only by the content of your message, but by the way it is delivered, by the energy, attentiveness, and responsiveness that signal genuine connection. By aligning your communication to the needs and emotions of your audience, you create an experience that goes beyond information. You create transformation. Finally, adaptability is a skill developed over time. It requires self-reflection, practice, and a willingness to learn from every interaction. Each conversation provides insight into what works, what resonates, and what can be improved. The more you observe, adjust, and respond thoughtfully, the more natural this skill becomes, and the more consistently you inspire those around you. Adaptability is not a compromise. It is a strategic, conscious choice to communicate with effectiveness, empathy, and impact. When you embrace adaptability, every interaction becomes an opportunity to connect, influence, and uplift. You move beyond rigid communication patterns, cultivating relationships that are dynamic, responsive, and meaningful. By meeting people where they are and inspiring them through understanding, your words gain resonance, your presence gains authority, and your impact becomes enduring. And finally, let this thought guide you always. The words you speak have the power to build bridges, heal wounds, and ignite dreams. Speak with intention, listen with heart, and communicate with the courage to change the world, one conversation at a time.